everyone, it's that time of the week again. My name is Winston Similane and welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Yes! We are on day 30 something of the COVID-19 lockdown. Besides the fact that I have gained complexion, this lockdown has made me feel even more single than the single that I already am. Okay. But besides that, there are other things that has, was sparked discussion in this being stuck at home situation. So with this whole being stuck at home thing, we're eating more than what we usually eat, which I don't know whether it's a good or a bad thing. Like this topic for another day. But it got me thinking. With this whole, extra little bits of weight gain that not only myself, but like a ton of people are going through because of sitting at home, it got me thinking about what it's like to grow up being the chubby kid. I grew up being the chubby kid. So today, my story time is basically my story of what it's like to grow up as a chubby kid. I grew up in a family of four: me, my mom, my dad, a little brother. Grew up with loving parents. Like if you're my age, parents, you know what I mean when I say my parents are old school. Like my parents are old school. Like you knew they loved you, but they didn't necessarily say it all the time. But you knew they loved you. Like my mom said it a lot because of who my mom was. My dad, on the other hand, not as much, but he showed it with his actions and the things that he did. Now that I understand what love languages are, I now see that my pops loved me. But growing up, obviously, in a family, it's not just you. There's uncles, there's aunts, there's cousins, there's friends, there's people at school. There's just the whole genre of people that you grow up with. And I grew up in my, I don't want to say clique, but in my group of people in the family. I grew up, I was the chubbier one. Okay, let me put it this way. I grew up being told that I was the chubbier one. Because when I look back at pictures, I was just a normal kid. I literally was a normal kid. But I grew up being told that I'm the chubbier one. I was super light in complexion. The complexion that I am now is a couple of shades darker than what I was as a child. Because I just love the sun. But anyway, I was super light and I was told that I was chubby. Now, chubby is relative because there are kids that you see that you're like, yo, but this kid is chubby, and there are kids that just feel like, well, in comparison to that other child, yes, that child is chubby. So I guess in comparison to the cousins that I grew up with, I was chubby. Was I actually chubby? Not really. But I grew up being told that I was chubby. And when I look back now at my life, I can see how being told I was chubby added to certain complexes that I have. How hearing those words in my mind added to the complex of not feeling good enough. More than anything, because I was told a lot that the reason why I will not become anything is because I'm chubby. Now, if you listen to those words make no sense. Because when has weight ever contributed to somebody being or not being something? But I got told because of my weight, I would not amount to anything. And I grew up believing those words. Now, people say, but who told you? Like, was it your parents? Was it your mom? Was it your dad? My parents never, if they did, I don't remember. My parents never told me I'm fat. I think the one time I heard my mom tell me I'm fat, I think I was 20. No, I was, yeah, early 20s. Early 20s, late teens, early 20s. I had gained weight. I was 20. I had gained weight. I gained like a serious amount of weight. And my mom, like literally the one day, she just looked at me and she was like, no, but you're getting fat now. You need to do something about it because you're going to start getting sick. That was the only time. That was the only time I had ever heard my mother tell me that I am fat. But everybody else around me told me that I'm fat, told me that I'd never amount to anything. And you know, when you grow up with people that you think or that you are led to believe are your family, and they love you, and therefore they will not necessarily hurt you. It's the biggest lie you can ever tell a child. If you're telling your children that their family will never hurt them, it's the biggest lie, because family are the people that are going to hurt you the most. I remember, I think I was 9 or 10, and an aunt of mine, she was always on my case. She genuinely was always on my case about how I looked and, how I presented myself. Let me put it that way. And I remember the one time I was 9. I was 9 or I was 10, but round about there. And I had visited her. I used to visit her a lot because she was the mom to one of my favorite cousins. So I was always at her place. Like whenever I got a chance, like I'd nag my parents to take me to her place because I wanted to hang out with my cousin. And I remember the one time I had visited her house, and it was my turn to make lunch. So you were all hanging out, but we played. One person used to go make lunch and then call everybody to come and eat. So it was my turn to go make lunch while the others were playing. And I went into the house. I started making lunch, and she walked into the kitchen. And she just looked at me as I was standing in front of the fridge trying to pick out what we were going to eat for lunch. And she was like, Sponsiwe, do you know why your parents never have any money? And I stopped and I looked at her and I was like, when you don't know what somebody's talking about, but because you're a child and you're told that you need to respect a person, you're like, no, and she's like, yeah, the reason why your parents never have any money is because you're always eating. You are the person that is always eating their money away. The reason that they have no money is because of you. And mind you, at the time, my parents were going through a very difficult financial period in their lives. They were, when you're a kid and you can see that your parents are struggling, and you can see that your parents are not able to provide like they used to, when you can see that as a child. And she said that to me. And I remember standing there thinking to myself, oh my goodness. But because I had this thing of never allowing myself to cry in front of people as a child, that I didn't cry. I was like, oh, okay, and then I quickly made the lunch. I remember not eating. I was so hungry because we were playing, but I remember not eating because I was like, I'm not allowed to eat here. And I remember I made the lunch and I called everybody in and everybody ate, and I was like, no, can I please use the phone? I want to call my mom. And I called my mom and I told my mom to come and get me. And my mom came. My mom, no, she didn't even ask anything. She didn't even ask why am I wanting to be picked up earlier. She just came, she got me, and she took me home. And I remember going into my room and standing in front of the mirror and just looking at myself and thinking to myself, not only are you fat, but now you are also the reason why your parents don't have any money. And it hurt me so much. It hurt me to the point where I know that this is one of the scars I have in my life that have healed but are still painful, if that makes any sense. And from there, I can literally count from there how growing up being the chubbier person made certain things in me either not completely form or made them break. And when you hear that from somebody you trust, somebody you love, when you hear them hurt you like that, and to them it meant nothing. It meant nothing because the next time she saw me, she was on my weight again. And the next time she saw me, she was on my weight again until it came to a point where I was like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. I'm not visiting. And I stopped visiting. I was like, look, I love my cousin, but I genuinely cannot handle what her mom is doing to me. And I stopped visiting. And it is one of the things that I can literally point out, and I can be on some. I started being depressed here. And in as much as depression is something that you're born with, it also gets triggered by life events, by things happening, by whatever. I mean, I grew up in a family that was filled with love, that was filled with everything that you could want as a child, but because of outside influences, I grew into a depression. I don't know whether that makes any sense. Like, I really don't know. But it was never easy growing up and being that kid. It never was. It never, ever, ever was. But I was that kid. And it pains me when I hear people talk to children and say to children, oh, beganus dudla, or oh, beganus banban. I remember I said this to another aunt of mine. She used to call one of my younger cousins, Usdudla. And I was like, don't stop calling this child Usdudla, because you are her mother and you are going to make her have a complex because you keep on calling her Usdudla. Stop it. And she was like, no, until the one day her daughter snapped. And she was like, you need to stop calling me Usdudla because I feel that I'm not beautiful because you keep on calling me Usdudla. And then she understood. But it needed for the daughter to snap first, which, I mean, really, I had warned you about it. It was that. And then there was just so many things. But the one thing I guess that I want to say is this. Being the bigger girl has never been easy. Being the chubbier person also never been easy. But the one thing I want you to take away from this is that people will always say things. I guess I'm not having to say this. People always say things to hurt you. For some reason, they will. But don't mind what people say. If you're a young girl out there and you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, but don't mind what people say. The only thing I want you to do is be careful of what you say to you. Because you could take what they say and you can be some, okay, whatever. Or you could take what they say and you could hold it and then you could talk it back to yourself. That is the mistake that I made, is that I took what people were saying to me. I took the words that were speaking to me. I held them and then I spoke them back to myself. And then they became my reality because of that. Not because it was a reality, but it became my reality because of that. And I grew up for the majority of my life hating what I looked like. Not, you see, people go, oh no, I don't like what I look like right now. I grew up hating what I looked like, and very few people knew that about me. I hated what I looked like. Now, yes, I've grown into a self-love, and I look at myself and I'm like, oh, child. But for the majority of my teenage life, I grew up hating myself, and I wish I could go back to 14, 15, 16-year-olds more and be on some child. Look, okay, it is not that deep. It genuinely, what they're saying, not that true. But I can't. I need to live with that. Sometimes it's even a matter of having to live with certain scars. I've had to live with certain scars. I've learned to live with certain scars. I've learned to forgive where I haven't received an apology. I've learned to forgive myself, which is the most important thing that you can do, is to forgive you and forgive believing all the things that people said about you that were not true. So look, it's difficult being the chubbier person. Look, I always say, as long as you are healthy, your size does not matter. As long as you're healthy, and by healthy I mean you need to walk up a flight of stairs and get to the top of the flight of stairs and not feel like there is a house sitting on your chest. That's like baseline healthy. As long as you're healthy, as long as you're taking care of yourself, your size genuinely doesn't matter, and you're happy about it. I right now I'm not happy because I have gained some weight, and with me, I have a, I want to say I have a bad back, but I have a very finicky back. Like, it's just when I get to a certain weight, my back hurts, and um, so I can't get to that weight. So I'm always trying my best to stay away from that size, because I know that when I get there, my back is going to give in. So that's my health. Like, my healthy is I cannot be smaller than a size 36. Like, I'm a 40, depending on the cuts of clothing right now. If I become a size 32, I am going to look ridiculous. And not because of anything, but because I'm not built that way. And I know a lot of people go, no, there's no such thing as being big boned. Yeah, true. Okay, I don't know. But look, there are people that have a hefty structure. There are people that are built bigger. Yeah, that's it. There you go. The correct term. There are people that are built bigger. I'm built bigger. Because even if we look at my shoulders are broad. Imagine a skinny person with broad shoulders. Imagine a skinny person with my big ass head. Not going to work. But I know the right size for me, and that's what I work towards, and that's what I'm working towards after lockdown. I'm just kidding. That's what I'm working towards, to be that perfect size 38, and not to keep on yo-yoing, which is not easy. But anyway, but yeah, I really hope that the story touches somebody, and you're able to learn from my experience that you're not alone. More than anything, you are not alone. You're not alone. You're not the only person struggling with your weight. You're not the only person struggling with how you look. You're not the only person struggling. You are not the only person, period. No matter what it is, you're just not the only person. And somebody else is going through the exact same thing that you are going through. So yeah, this is my very long 2 cents worth for today. But as always, remember guys, I love you. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you, loves you, loves you, loves you. And yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. Bye. Mwah.